Welcome to WebTech Fusion's Flash Autoplay tutorial, where we'll be discussing how to have your video in the off position when a user enters a page on your website. We encountered this issue when trying to embed a video on one of our clients' website, where the FLV file was already deployed on a web server to decrease audio and video sync issues that you would experience from an embedded video within the Flash timeline. If you ever imported a video into Flash before, you would have noticed a FLV playback component, which is added to the timeline under the first keyframe. In this video tutorial, we will show you how to easily fix that annoying autoplay function by adding an instance name, some action script, publishing our files, deploying them to the server, and then showing you the end result. Let's go ahead and get started. Now that we have Flash open, we can create a new file by selecting Flash File Action Script 2.0. First thing we're going to have to do is go to File, Import, Import Video, and once the Import Video prompt is visible, select the Already Deployed to a Web Server radio button. Now we're going to want to add in our URL to our already deployed FLV into that box. And once that's complete, go ahead and click Next. Now you want to go ahead and select the skin for your video playback. In this case, we're going to go ahead and use the steel external all.swift. Click Next. And it's pretty much finished. So go ahead and click Finish. It's gathering the metadata, and once that's complete, we will see the FLV playback component inserted into the first keyframe, and it'll also be located in the library. Alright, as you can see, this is the FLV playback that I was talking about. Here's the skin that I selected. It's located all in the first keyframe, and in the library you can see my FLV playback. Now I won't need all this extra spacing around my video, so I'm going to go ahead and adjust the size of my stage to match the video dimensions. First I'm going to click on the video. My dimensions are 360 by 264. I'm going to adjust this video so that it's located right on the 0 x-axis and 0 y-axis. Alright, that should bring it top left of my stage. Now I'm going to go ahead and click on this stage, and you can see my size is 550 by 400. I click Edit. I go in here and I'm going to go ahead and make this 360 pixels, and the height, because I want to include this skin here, is going to be 315. Alright, and you can see I got a little bit of white space there, but that's fine. It includes my complete video as well as my skin. Alright, now that I adjusted the dimensions of my component and stage here, I'm going to go ahead and add an instance name to the component. That way we can call it later on when we're trying to disable the autoplay function. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and click on my component. Notice here in the Properties tab, there is no instance name. So at this time, I'm going to go ahead and give it one. I'm going to say my underscore FLV PLYBK. So my FLV playback. And keep in mind this is case sensitive, so you're going to want to be mindful of that when you're calling the instance name later in ActionScript. Alright. Now that that's complete, I can just go ahead and hit enter. That'll save in there. My component now has an instance name. The next thing we're going to have to do is create an actions line on our timeline. I could do that here by adding a new layer. I'll rename that. Call that actions. On the first keyframe, I'm going to go ahead and click there. And I'm going to click on the Actions Frame tab. Alright, once we start typing in here, you'll notice that the timeline, the keyframe above here, it'll say have a little a, lowercase a, in which case it lets you know that you actually have actions on this keyframe. Alright, so what we're going to want to enter is, of course, this is our instance name, my underscore FLV playback, and I'm going to go ahead and put a dot and type in the word auto and then play with a capital P. Auto play. And what do we want it to do? We're going to say equals, and then the Boolean operator, either true or false. Do we want it to autoplay or do we not? So I'm going to say false. And then, of course, we have to end with a semicolon. Alright, now that we have our instance name, our action script saying to disable our autoplay, and our component is laid out properly on the stage, we're going to go ahead and save our file. You can name it whatever you would like, but keep in mind before you publish, let's go to our publish settings, and we're going to want to make sure under Formats tab that we have the flash.swf as well as the html.html. And what that is going to do for us is allow us to not only have this SWF file for our server, but give us the required coding to reference that SWF file as well as our FLV file. You don't want to have to retype all that, it generates for you, so might as well go ahead and use it. Alright, if we click OK, we are ready to save as well as publish. Now it should publish in the same location that you actually have your that you've saved your FLV file to. So let's go ahead and get over to that direction. Alright, now that our files are published from Flash, we will notice our FLA. This is our creation file that we were just working in. You will not need to deploy that to the server, so I'll go ahead and move it over there for now. These are the three files that you'll need. Now keep in mind you already have a FLV file that is on your server. That's the actual video itself, and we're directly linking to that from this SWF file. This SWF file has in our FLV component as well as our action script to disable the autoplay. This SWF file right here is the Steel External All. That was the skin I was using for video playback. Now the HTML file that was generated from Flash is pretty complete to the point where I won't need to actually add this to a website. Just by adding these three files to a server, you will have everything you need to actually see whether or not this worked for you. Of course, there's script inside the head tags of the document, and that gives you the different options for your different browsers. Makes it compatible across the browsers. And then once you get out of the head section, you'll notice here is the script as well as the object embed code for the actual video itself. Now we have several HTML calls here, like play equals false, but because you're not actually controlling things from the timeline, it's built into that component. These actually won't be what's causing your video not to play. It was the action script that we used in the SWF file. Alright, so what I'm going to do is take these three files, put them on the server, and let's check out the end result. So if we go to our website, webtechfusion.com, I type in the directory as well as the HTML document name, which was videoexample.html. You should see here's the video that we created. Now you'll notice that it didn't start playing, which is fantastic. That's exactly what we're shooting for. So if we were to hit the play button, you'll notice that the video starts playing, which is fantastic. This is exactly what we were shooting for. If you have any questions or you didn't get the same results that you were looking for, please feel free to contact us. And you can do so by going to webtechfusion.com, and across the top navigation here, just go ahead and click Contact, fill in your information, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. I appreciate you watching the tutorial, and hopefully this was helpful. Thank you.